You are currently the only person in this conference.
Em nghe chị không? Hello? Nghe nhưng mà không có rõ đó. Chỗ chị hơi ồn, chứ có nghe ồn không ta?
Có nghe là chứ không sao, chị nghe được.
Ok. Hang on. Hello, Anna. Can you guys turn on the camera?
Ai mới đi webcam để em đặt
Không có webcam hả?
không, cái laptop của em nó có 13 inch cho nên nó không có.
Hello. Anna, can you help me? Can you hear me? Anna, I think you can sign out and then trying to relock it using the microphone. Don't use listen only. Use the microphone. On good now? Hello?
Chloe, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah. I was just trying to do some settings with microphone and all the things.
Alright.
Yeah.
So, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me in.
Sorry, it's gonna be quite noisy a bit in the background, but I hope it's fine. So, we're gonna have like around maximum 45 minutes in terms of asking you guys some experiences when you guys joining our internship program, and then sharing about how do you feel, and then your own experiences as a UXUI staff, why your background is in web development,
Yeah.
So we got Chocolate here, who is who well, actually her background is a little bit interesting. So before we go into 5 quick questions, so I'm gonna ask you guys to shortly introduce about yourself and your background. Okay,
Okay.
so let's go with Anna.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. My name is Anup, and I've just recently completed my master's in IT from Victoria University. Um, and I just joined Chloe. I think 3 weeks before, and yeah, it's nice to join everybody. I find every time something new to learn. I'm struggling a bit, but I'm trying my best. Thank you for your guidance.
Right. So what makes you feel like you've been a little bit struggling in the beginning?
Because totally a fresher, and I'm trying to get into the project in a way so I can fit in accordingly, and I can learn as much as I want, and I can grab the things from your experience and from team. So yeah, I hope because it's just a new thing, so I hope I'll just do it. Yeah, that's what I think. Olivia.
So how long you been in Australia?
It's now more than 2.5 years.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you spend the whole time for studying?
Yeah. I was studying all like I just completed it in March because it was 2 years course, so I was just studying in my university. Yes.
And how do you feel it? Because people say that it's quite difficult for a graduated
Uh,
finding a job here, right?
it
Especially you
is.
are living in Newcastle, New South Wales, right? You want to share a
Yeah.
little bit about that?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It seems quite difficult to find a job because, of course, my college they keep on advising some things, but it's really difficult to get in anything because you are a fresher. You know anything wherever we just want to apply or wherever we want to go to get some experience. There is a kind of thing they want. They don't want freshers, so I think it's hard to start. That's why I just thought if I can start with some internship, some kind of experience that I can learn and I can add it to my resume, that's going to be beneficial in a way. So yeah, it's really difficult. Hmm.
I understand. So
Yeah.
you are you've been introduced by Miss Vivian, who is immigration lawyer, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's also our strategic partner in terms of guiding correct information and like
Yeah.
to allow students to have more spaces and more rights to create
Okay.
their
Mm-hmm.
own pathway. And
Okay.
yeah, when she sent your resume to me, and I've been to, oh, I think I'm gonna need this girl in my team because
Oh.
in the future I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
open an office in Newcastle,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, and but we've been working a lot through virtual internship. And do you
Mhm.
feel it is quite struggling because we are lack of communications
Yes, I
or
think so. Hmm. Yeah, sometimes it happens. Yeah, I think it might be because of lack of communication, or maybe some. 'Cause I'm just trying to get into the taskers, so that might be the reason. But yeah, overall, it's quite good and interesting to me to do all the things. It's something new that I'm grabbing, and it's really interesting. I just pay attention, and it feels me really interesting when I'm doing these things. At least makes me feel better.
okay, thank you. All right,
Yeah.
your turn, Charlie. You want to share about your background a bit, and then how did you? I mean, how do you feel when you choose yourself internship as a is a completely, like career path because she's used to be an interior designer, right? And she moved to another, different aspect of creativity is becoming an UX UI designer as the first step. And then this found is very interested in moving forward. So also, Charlie, could you share a little bit about yourself and then your career shift?
Yep. So I would say the whole my life, I never think I will go into graphic design, not even US UI. Like the first time when I talked to Chloe, she talking some term, like very technical term, and I couldn't understand at all. So I tried to like do some research, and then I found it's quite interesting. Um, because for me, I concentrate mostly on human and then where they're living, not on the product they're using. So it's quite new. And then I try to do some small project because like it just happened like my family need to have something. Like my mom just launched a new company and then she wants to have some kind like packaging poster and then she doesn't want to use like someone else outside because like they cannot understand clearly what she wants. So she just asked me try to do something and then that's just how I got into graphic design. Um, and then I got a chance to talk to Chloe last year, and then she suggested me like study proper like graphic design course. So I at first I wanted to try, but like something happened, and I just get in the line. So I do some short course online, but I found it's quite useful as well because like you do like real life project, and then you can apply it into your project straight away. It's not like you have to study a lot of basic things like from college or university. So I think it's very practical as well. And now I got a chance to work with Scissor and the first task is doing animated video, which I never done this ever in my life as well. So it's really hard at first because I know nothing. So I learned bit by bit, and then after a while, I found it easy enough for me because I know all the basic thing already. So I think if I got a similar task, I would be done faster than now than taking like a whole week just for one video. That's what I think. So for me myself, I prefer study by doing practical things than learning from a book or just listen some like go to the lecture and just listen the whole hour, not but for nothing. That's for me. Like after you do some like practical thing and then when you read the like your document again, maybe you will learn more than you just listening at first. Yeah, that's what I learned from yeah, the university. That's why I choose to go to Tasmania instead of mainland because uh, even though the course I'm choosing like environmental design, but the structure is completely different if I go to UTS or go to like Swinburne University at first. So it's very practical here. Everything is on about like you have to do something and then you have to use a real project like a real building something. So it's really good as well. Yeah, that's just a part of me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Charlie. Now, let's talk a little bit about UX UI combination in web development, right? Let's start with Charlie first because besides the designing stuff, including like video making or logo designing or website design. I recently found that Charlie is really interested in UX UI things, which she has not been really experienced properly before. So let's talk about this a little bit because as I always mention, UX UI is very important to web development. So even though you haven't experience yourself in a proper short course or proper qualification with UX UI designer. So you have to self-learning a lot, through internet, through network, through your mentor, through your supervisor, anyone who can, who can advise you which is the best UX UI journey. UX means user experience, right? So share a little bit about your own experience and your own lesson learned after a few weeks real experience trying to immerse yourself in UX UI designing stuff. There's something, Anna.
I
Yep.
couldn't hear you.
Do you hear me?
Yep. Yes, Chloe.
Okay. Yes. I think what is the most difficult part for you in the beginning when you have never experienced stuff that I requested you to do before, and how could you overcome that and to make like, okay, finally I'm satisfied with your deliverables, right, recently. So can you share a little bit about how can you overcome that, and are you really interested in UX UI stuff, and you found it is really important thing for yourself as well as other freshers in terms of web development? You have to understand how important things the UX UI.
Yes, Chloe. When I had to start, of course, as Figma, I never used that, but that was introduced by you, and I found it pretty much easy when you shared some websites and some videos to, to find out how it works. And yeah, it took me almost a week to get familiar with that, the layouts and all the things. But yeah, the videos and your recommendations, that was really helpful. I just worked upon them, and I get to go familiar with Figma first, and then the other things, like the layouts and how we can go like with our page, all the things. I just followed the links you just sent me, and I keep on watching them. So in a way, I got into it, and I came to know that what really it looks like and how it's going to work. So of course, that was really beneficial part for me. And of course, if you ask me my satisfaction level when I design, of course, I was not getting anything like how to start with, and the things were a bit difficult. But when I started designing it, and I've just done first layout, I know that was really simple, but it felt me like I can do it, and that was the level of satisfaction. And yeah, that was really nice to do it once, and now it feels like, yeah, I can do it more. And of course, to understand, I think the basic thing, as you just started with, to understand my design, and of course to develop it, that is the basic thing. I should go for that. And yeah, I think that was the thing I started with, and that was really the tutor classes, and the links that you keep on sending me, that was really useful. So I think that worked for me.
So you never been introduced, some stuff like that before during your courses at Victoria University about web development?
Yeah, being in my college, we have only done one project, and that was under the supervision of our tutor. And that was another thing, as we just did that on another application, another software. It was WordPress, and everything was under guidance. They were giving us instructions how to do it. I mean, it was not a practical kind of thing. There was a project, and we were doing it in a group, so the work was divided. doing it individually, I think, makes you more confident, and you're more clear with the things that what you're going to do. And that was a new experience up here. So yeah, I think that's really useful to learn more about it.
How do you think when you kind of master, I mean, you have basic foundation understanding about UX UI stuff, and now you can, move from the designing thing to the coding thing?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, of course. It was really important, I think, for me to know the basic designing. Now, as I'm familiar with some of the things that we particularly use for our designing, then I think it's going to be useful to learn how to get into coding. Otherwise, if basic is not clear, I mean, if your foundation is not strong, that's not going to work for that. So I really like your idea to introduce me with designing, and then to let me proceed with the further things. So I think it's going to work for me and makes me more confident about the things going on.
Thank you, Anna, because my perception is always, even though you are not the one, I mean, in later stage, right, in future, you are not the one who has to do from A to Z, but you
Yeah.
have to be the one who knows from A to Z,
Mhm.
right? So that makes you feel like, okay, everything could be possible, happen. And we witness things, we see things with a solution rather than, okay, that's another problem, and I can't find it. I don't feel it's familiar to me. I have never done that before. So when you let yourself immerse with every role in any company that you are going to apply, you're ready to take any roles that your management or your company wants you to do, even though you are not liking it so much. But if you take it kind of positively more, okay, if I can't do that, I need to figure out how can I master, or how can I at least overcome it, or how can I request more resource supported from my company in order to help myself to complete the task period, right? So every mini task or mini assignment that you've been assigned to do, it always translates some message, some experience that you need to take into account.
Yep.
So that's the culture that we are trying to build here at System, as well as for the whole sub projects that you guys been working on. Okay, thank you for that. What about Charlie? You want to share something? Your perspective in terms of the importance of UX UI designer.
Mm, I think at first you should prepare for you some technical terms, because for me, like sometimes I found it's hard to understand, like when everyone is discussing about something, like I really couldn't understand most of the things, so I try to write it down, and then later, so I will look it up, and then I try to understand it. It's help a lot as well. I think communication is the key, as Chloe always say, like because for me, right, I used to work by myself, so like it's hard to share what I think. So sometimes I think, oh, maybe we just finish everything and then share at the end. So, but during the time, you better share to your teammates. So if something rise up, we can fix it as soon as possible. Mm, one more thing, I think, because we need to do a lot of project at a time, so like you have to do time management very well as well. Yeah, and then I think try to do the task you think you can finish first, and then you spend more time on the more difficult one, so you can, like in a week you can do more stuff. Like because I stopped studying for a while, so I think I need to get myself like back again, because like I used to do one task at a time. So Yeah. So now I think I'm getting better after a few weeks, so I can do things much faster as well. Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
everything.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's quite nice when hearing you guys that you've been, despite struggling difficulties in the beginning, but you guys find yourself now, okay, a little bit overcome now. Now I'm familiar with more requested by Chloe. I just want to say that actually in in any developing country, multitasker are the one who can who have more advantages from tasker. You guys know what I mean? Because even though you are being assigned a thing, the very important thing is you have how to manage your supervisor expectations, right? Your supervisor do not send you a lot of stuff because she or he knows how capability you are. In the first time, in order to test out every of the staff in the company, they're trying to send a lot of stuff because they want to understand, okay, do you really know what you are doing, right? And the second thing is, do you really know how to communicate and manage the deliverable in terms of a team, in terms of a company? Because you are not working alone. Sometimes you are working alone, but it doesn't mean that you are dependent on anyone, right? So So yeah, I think keeping smooth communication and always update the progress to your team, to your supervisor. Make sure that you are doing the right thing, you are going on the right track, rather than you spend a lot of time, struggling and then figuring out alone. Sometimes you feel very lonely and you feel like, okay, I'm disconnected to the workplace that I'm trying to contribute right. This is very important thing. Okay, we need to understand, right? It's not like we are losing focus when you do a lot of things at the same time. It's just because we can do a lot of things at the same time. If we know how to manage expectation, manage quality of deliverables, and manage the time management, right? The self time management, right? Whenever you master time management, then you have to be, and you are correct to say no to your supervisor, right? So these are very important things that if you can take it on board, and then you can try to figure out another way to apply into your own experience before you move into really hard workplace culture in the future. But I don't think the workplace here is hard. It's just because we do not really understand how to get ourselves fit 100% with the culture, right? This culture, this country working culture is all about communication. It's not about how good you are delivering things faster or quality. I mean, of course, you have to do very qualified things, right? But it's about how to communicate, how to get yourself connected with the culture, and how can let your company or let your team knowing that what you are really doing right now, right? So that's all about patience. It's not about how fast you can complete the task. It's about how well you communicate to get your task done quality, right? And make them feel, oh, this person, he or he belongs to our culture, right? Thank you. Let's talk about actually off the concern right now, but it's great. So any key message that you want to deliver to freshers who are struggling to fighting an internship right now? Let's go with Charlie first.
Kỳ vậy, em không có nghe được câu hỏi thì ồn. Can't hear you well.
Is it really noisy?
Yeah.
Can you hear now?
Yeah, a little bit better.
Okay, I'm saying that is there any message that you want to advise to the fresher who are still struggling finding internship placement?
Yes, I would say from my own experience, I graduated 2 years ago and I tried to look for a job, really real job in Tasmania, which is really hard because we were hit with COVID last year as well, so it's just no hope. But I would say I did a lot of job during the time, like in 2 years, I did a lot of job, like side job, just for surviving. But I think even though you do like job like that, actually you can learn a lot of things on the way. It just depends on what to think about that. I learned how to calm myself. I learned how to listen more than just talking. And then I learned how to deal with people as well, which I really don't like it, but somehow you have to do that. And then I would say just give you a chance. So if you think you can do it, just do, but don't try to take everything which you cannot afford. So for me, just try to be polite, try to be listening, and then if you don't know anything, try to ask for help. Because sometimes you don't know the person in front of you, they can give you something. If you don't ask, they won't know. That's, I found it's really helpful as well. I think that's everything I would say.
Thank you. What about Anna?
So what I believe is, of course, we were talking about the difficulty to get to any industry when you're a fresher. So I say internship for any fresher, that's need to be a bit more professional and to know, as you're saying, to know the culture of any new place. Of course, as we are international students, so our culture is different from the particular place. So I think if you get into something, you're going to learn a lot of new experiences, and when you're working in a team, you'll have a lot of experience and the workers who are working before, and of course your supervisor is going to teach you in a way. You can grab a lot of things that can be beneficial, I think, to feel more confident in your particular field. As you have, for example, me, I have invested a lot of money to do my master's and to get my degree. So it doesn't mean anything to me if I leave that thing because of my struggle. I couldn't get into any internship or I couldn't get any job, and doing something for survival is something different. Your hopes, your goals, that must to a point, and internship, of course, be the key for everybody. So whenever we get chance, I think we should be in it and learn the new things.
Awesome. I mean, that's why. I mean, that seems like a mission to create a leadership workplace for you guys, especially students in technology, studying, T and stuff like that. Because for me, I feel as a work skill, it's technical skill, but they are way room to improve their soft skills. In order to compete with other, like senior students from other developing countries, that soft skill is they have to learn from very, early time. So I guess the internship placement, the culture we're trying to create here is focused more personal development. focusing more on mindset development rather than the technical skill. Because whenever you've been through into a practical case, a real project, a real product, real task that you've been assigned to, your technical skills show up everything. But then your coach, your supervisor will know that what is the improving things that you have to master. But soft skills, no, right? No, soft skills, no. Technical skill can be improved, but soft skill, it makes a little bit sense. It makes a little bit, like you have to be always upskilled, and that's why during the internship, we always create, mentoring, one-on-one mentoring with experts in the industry. It's not just because you guys need to learn more on technical. It's about you learn how their experience, how they can master themselves, and how they can succeed in Australia culture, right? So yeah, that's these one-on-one mentoring sessions are one of valuable assets that you can add to intern here. Okay. Right. Last question. Can you guys share with us, your future? I mean, yeah, who are you, or who will you become for the next 3 or 5 years? I really like that question. I always ask this question. Let's start with Anna.
Yeah, and that's really an interesting question to give you, I think, the wings to think about what you really want to be. So it reminds you in your mind that you're struggling for something and you have to achieve that. So for me, when I just get involved into technology, like I just started to think about to do my master's in technology, I really wanted to be, I was not very clear with my goal until, because there are, a lot of things that goes around in your mind when you have, different kinds of majors. Of course, as I find myself interested in designing and I'll see how I go with web developing. I'm really keen to get into this kind of thing that can give me the way to at least kind of to find me into the thing that I'm interested in. So probably I would like to go with the same thing. And the other thing that I might have discussed with you, that I'm quite interested in communication analyst. So maybe if I'm given a chance in future, so I can have a thought of getting some experience as ICT analyst as well. But yeah, this is quite interesting to be involved in web designing, and I would love to continue with it.
What is your key strength? What is your key strength?
I think to be consistent with my dreams that I have in my mind, and to focus on my being my mentor. I think I should focus on your guidance, and I should spend a lot of time to get into it. And the other key strength is of course my team, who is always supporting me to do the things that I don't understand, and the way how to get it. So I think my consistency with my dream, it's gonna be my key strength, and my mentorship, of course, it's gonna build my skills. So that's all what I think, I believe that's gonna be my key strengths.
Thank you for sharing. What about Charlie?
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just life just guide me to something new. But while doing this for a few weeks, I kind of like it as well. Like I felt like maybe interior is like not all thing I can do. So I think for the time being, I will just concentrate in learning more, like try to master some of the skill to support for my work first. And then because I was applying for a new course as well, so I hoping like after I finish that course, like I can achieve something like it's good to learn something new for me. It's never too late to learn as well. So it's just for myself, I only want to do something I really like to do. I don't like to work just for money anymore. Because I think I has enough for that. Yeah. Because I think if I can do something I like, I can do it longer and much better than just like try to do something.
Do you know who you're gonna become in the future? Like at least for the next 3 years?
For the next few years, so I have a goal, so I'm hoping I can achieve it in the next 2 years. And after that, I don't know yet because I really have a lot of things on my mind. I have a lot of plans. I want to do a lot of things as well, but I have to get my main goal first, and then I will try to do it bit by bit. Because I know now I cannot do a lot of things. Like I cannot achieve a lot of things at one time. So I have to do step by step.
Yeah, I understand to become a permanent resident is all of us may go, right? Even though we have or have not achieved it yet. But to me, what really matters is the way, the way or the plan or backup plan that makes you feel like you are going to achieve that main goal. It matters then you can take whatever life takes you to achieve the BR thing. You guys know what I'm saying? For example, that's why you need one-on-one consultation with the immigration lawyer, right? With immigration agency. Because, for example, when you spend like the last 5 years studying about technology, but the IT thing is not in the hot demand still immigration right now. What should you do now? Should you shift to nursing thing? Should you shift to teaching thing? Just to get the BRT? No, this is the wrong way, right? You have to consult with the experienced expert. But before you consult with that expert, you have to be clear what kind of career in the future that you want to become. That is very important. That's different mindset than whether take any shortcut to the BRT, right? Everyone wants shortcut because shortcut is faster, shortcut is less costly. But sometimes even though you achieve that goal, you feel like okay, you spend the rest of 5 years or 7 years just for one test. And whenever you restart it yourself as a PR thing, you feel like completely lost. What kind of career now I need to pursue right now? Should I just find a 9 to 5 job, any job, just to survive? Because I got a PR now, I got stuff that I feel confident, I got stuff that I feel protected now. You're not gonna be happy with things that you are doing in the future if you are thinking that way. So I always tell my interns or my mentees that don't waste your past, don't waste your previous years or previous academic background in terms of qualification. There's still smart ways to become PR while and sure, for example, probably we hear it, but that's the right? It just takes a little bit of time.
Mm.
You just need the right expert who can sao thì visa way relevant. I think I can carry on. You guys hear me? Hear me?
Yeah.
You are currently the only person in this conference.